greatest show on earth starts right here, right now. The road to the World Cup, for so long Australia's tortuous holy grail, now has a different feel and a different path through Asia. And 55,000 are in Melbourne for the first step against Qatar. Well, the game in this country has had quite a few magic moments in the last few years, all starting with that World Cup qualifier against Uruguay back in 2005, and tonight we come full circle, and how ironic that it will be the same coach in opposition as that glorious night, Jorge Fossati, that of course sat on the Australian bench, will once again be a Dutchman. Well, Pim Verbeek is a straight shooter. In fact, some of his razor-sharp answers at yesterday's press conference were pure kuss hitting, and he knows that whatever the problems and difficulties his team has had in preparing for this match, they simply must deliver tonight. It's the Socceroos' 12th World Cup campaign. Their record on home soil is good in those qualifiers. Played 43, won 31, drawn 9, lost 3. And in fact, their last loss in a World Cup qualifier on home soil was as far back as 1981, when New Zealand made off with a victory en route to their World Cup appearance in Spain. Here in Melbourne, it's an equally good record. Just one World Cup qualifier lost, and that was against Iran back in 1977. And as we saw at the Asian Cup last year, there can really be no complacency, and Qatar, who've got one or two of their supporters here as well, are a doughty bunch of fighters, and they'll give it their all tonight. We think they might play rather defensively, and for them, surely 0-0 would be a good result. Well, it's a great, colourful scene here at the Telstra Dome. The rain has held off despite heavy cloud overhead, and there's the flag, 16th November 2005. That's really when it all started for the game in this country, and really cemented the Socceroos in the place and the hearts of sporting fans of Australia. Our referee tonight is Subkidin Mohd Saleh from Malaysia, and we've got some news on the sideline from our reporter Mel McLaughlin. Mel.
Hi Simon, yeah, just another word on the crowd. It's absolutely amazing down here. You'd be pretty jealous of my position down here, I must say, because the atmosphere it's electric. To avoid cliches, too late, but it's only going to get better. We've got the green and gold army as usual in position, the big Aussie flag. It's just so exciting. The Aussie stars have been out warming up earlier. You know, the guys, the crowd just screaming for Timmy Cahill and Lucas Neal, Mark Schwarzer, all our heroes, as you mentioned, November 2005, and it all starts again tonight.
Sure does. Thank you very much, Schmel. The start of a long road, of course. 14, possibly 18 qualifiers. It's all so different to how it was when it started 4 years ago in Adelaide against New Zealand. That night, Robbie Slater, there were just 12,000 people present. It wasn't live on television, and there was certainly no money to be made like we will tonight, I'm sure, from a crowd like this.
Yeah, times have changed, haven't they? The domestic competition, it's doing very, very well into its third season, into semi-final time, the Hyundai A-League, and it's all come off the back of Australia's successful 2006 campaign in Germany, where really the team did capture the hearts of a nation. And you can see tonight a team like Qatar, pretty lowly ranked, Australia way above them in the rankings, but still the brand name now being able to attract the full house here at the Telstra Dome. It's great to see all the yellow shirts, all the Socceroos shirts out there, and it's great to see our heroes back on home soil. We see them far too briefly.
Well, the players just beginning to make their way through the tunnel. You mentioned Qatar being no mugs, even though they finished bottom of their Asian Cup group last year. They've spent millions on preparations, including, of course, 3 friendlies, during which time they've conceded just 1 goal. And that, you feel, Robbie, is the key to their system tonight.
Well, it is. The way they'll line up, there'll be no secret. I think we've known for a long time now. Pim Verbeek knows that they will be well organised. They'll play with 5 across the back. Of course, their wing-backs, particularly Ali Nassar, the number 7, who's a big loss for Qatar, is not playing, but they will try and get forward on the counter-attack. That's what it'll be. Australia will have to have concentration. Of course, Lucas Neal and Craig Moore are a key in keeping that concentration. But if Australia get an early goal, I fancy that they will win this game quite comfortably. but that's easier said than done.
Well, these fans certainly expect victory. That's the Green and Gold Army with their big Australian flag and the green and gold streamers. Really is a wonderful sight, and as Robbie said, how times have changed over the last few years. But now it's a new era. It may still be a Dutch era, but it's the Pim Verbeek era. He's had plenty to say this week in the build-up, very honest in his answers. And this is the team he's chosen, just one A-League player amongst it. The rest have been told thank you very much, but you are not required. And these 11, some of whom have endured torturous journeys to get here, now have the weight of the nation's expectation and hope upon their shoulders. Always nervous moments, particularly before a World Cup qualifier. A few good luck wishes from the mascots and the ball boys. And there's a palpable sense of a feeling of something different tonight, a real weight of expectation, and that new era starting for Australian football. They've had some magic moments in recent years, and this fixture tonight will certainly be another great occasion. Lucas Neal wearing the captain's armband tonight, as he has done on a few occasions before. His opposite number 8, Saad Al-Shamari, one of Qatar's better players. They've got one or two handy stars, particularly in attack. We'll give you the team news in a few minutes. And they've been preparing hard just to the east of the city, training at the home of Doncaster Rovers. Jorge Fossati said he'd prefer, or he would have preferred to have been in New Zealand. But the preparations are over. The time for talking is over. It's time for the teams to make their way onto the turf and listen to the roar. After the longest walk in history, I think, the two teams have finally made their way to their marks, and it's time for the national anthems. Well, if that doesn't give the guys in green and gold a lift after their long journey, I don't know what will. It must be a fantastic sight for them. They've seen it, of course, for the qualifiers that matter against Uruguay. But this is the first step in a long road to what we hope will end in the World Cup in South Africa 2010. And those in green and gold are going to get great backing tonight from this crowd. The customary handshakes over with. There's one of the Brazilians for Qatar, Marconi Amaral, who's going to play with the rugby-style headgear. He picked up an injury against Iran in the recent friendly that was drawn nil apiece. So that's obviously just a bit of extra protection. Let's confirm the two-team lineups for you. Starting with Australia. Of course, it's almost entirely made up of overseas-based players. Only Craig Moore, playing his 14th World Cup qualifier, plays at home. Mark Schwarzer arrived only yesterday. And most of this squad, as I've said, have endured arduous journeys. Luke Wilkshire's trip taking around 32 hours. Josh Kennedy and Scott McDonald are the big man, little man combination up front. The Qatar team, of course, are missing their star man Sebastian Quintana through suspension. Overseas talisman Yasser Hussain isn't playing either. It's the defensive shape we expected, but there is potential for flexibility, and there are several stars to look out for, notably Khalfan Ibrahim, the 2006 Asian Player of the Year, the two naturalised Brazilians Fabio Cesar and Marconi Amaral, and their captain Saad Al-Shamari, who will try to get forward down the right-hand flank whenever he can, and he's a very good crosser of the football. Well, Pim Verbeek took South Korea to third at the Asian Cup last year. He's done plenty of homework on Qatar with his assistant Henk Doets, watching the recent friendly with Denmark. Says he's picked his team tonight without sentiments. A target 12 points from 6 games, and, well, is it a happy return to Australia for Jorge Fossati? I think he'll get 1 or 2 boos from those who remember Uruguay in 2005. He didn't make too many friends on that trip, did he? Confirmation of our referee tonight, Sukidin Modsele from Malaysia, and there's a nice symmetry to his appointment as well. He refereed Australia against Bahrain, the first game in Asia for the Socceroos, and also Chris Hiddings' first game in charge, which ended in a 7-0 victory over the Solomon Islands. So we're all set for go on what's turned out to be an absolutely perfect night weather-wise in Melbourne. The rain has stayed away, the pitch is in great shape. Football Federation Australia has invested $20 million in this campaign to reach South Africa. We're about to find out if it's money well spent. The road to South Africa is underway here on Fox Sports. Australia against Qatar. And immediately, it's the green and gold on the attack, as we expect them to be for much of the early phases of this game. I suppose the only question mark that still remains, there's no doubt that this Socceroo team, Robbie Slater, has the quality. It's whether they've got the legs after that long journey.
Well, certainly that will play a part, and haven't had long time to rest. You mentioned Schwarzer arrived yesterday, the other players only the night before that, so that will play a part. You'd expect then that Pim Verbeek later in the game might go to his bench, but certainly it's an attacking lineup, and you can see that with the two fullbacks, Brett Emerton on the right-hand side and David Carney on the left-hand side. They'll look to push on as much as possible. They're not really defensive players. And Marco Bresciano's playing on the left side of midfield, Wilkshire on the right side of midfield. They'll look to tuck in and open up the wide areas for those two players to get forward. But Cahill's runs from midfield will be a feature. The Socceroos certainly favourites quality-wise. Like you said, have they recovered?
Tim Cahill, who's coached David Moyes, doesn't really want him to be here, but he's stuck his hand up as he normally does, the Everton midfielder. And this is Abdullah Kone, one of several naturalised players in the Qatar lineup.
An interesting Pim Verbeek, who've had many camps, mostly with Hyundai A-League players, really tactically practicing a 4-2-3-1 formation, changing it really only 2 days ago and opted for a 4-4-2, only playing one holding midfielder, which is Jason Kalina, who really is an offensive player as well. So he's really gone for the attack, and you would expect that first game at home. This will set the tone for the qualifiers. For the rest of the games, 5 after this, the most important one is the one on offer right now.
This is Fabio Cesar, who spent several years playing in Italy with Napoli, and Kalfan Ibrahim is chopped down by Brett Emerton, who thinks that the little number 14 took a dive. There'll be one or two of those little moments throughout the 90 minutes. Pimber Baker's warned his players, no doubt trying to send a signal to the referee as well. That's not always to say that the Socceroos are squeaky clean either. However, free kick, opening 3 minutes. Fabio Cesar to take.
Well, that really is wasteful for one of their more talented players, Fabio Cesar. And in a game like this, where you feel they're not going to get a lot of opportunities, set pieces for them, is certainly a good chance to attack Australia. And that was wasted, their first opportunity.
This is David Carney of Sheffield United, winning just his 7th cap. Scored the winner, of course, in the Socceroos' last international against Nigeria. Absolute peach it was too. Lucas Neal. Everybody back inside the Qatar half, except Ali Afif for the Qataris. Everton's ball in, trying to hit Josh Kennedy early. Clearance by Mustafa Abdullah. Australia will set it up again through Carney. There was a little push on Tim Cahill, and the referee did well to wait for the advantage.
And look at Lucas Neal, keeping the tempo up, playing the free kick quick. That's good play. Moved the ball quickly, played a high tempo.
Carney shows Majdi Sadiq the dummy. Again, Kennedy the target. Picked up by Kalina. Now this is Luke Wiltshire. Kalina looking to spread the play. Carney's ball in. McDonald is in there. Interested to see how that combination works tonight. Kennedy and McDonald. Here's the former, Bresciano. McDonald. Crossing towards Kennedy, hopped on and stopped by the feet of Mohamed Saka from Tim Cahill.
Well, great movement. And that's exactly the kind of run that Tim Cahill's so good at. Finds himself with a great opportunity. Really didn't get a good connection on it. Good movement from Scott McDonald. Got the crossing in spite of the last-ditch challenge here from Marconi Amaral. Josh Kennedy just helps it on. Well, it's really a half chance. It's just behind him. Just couldn't readjust his body.
Early goal really would settle the nerves. This is Ali Afif, and already this pattern is starting to establish itself. Qatar sitting deep.
Well, sitting deep, they're almost on their 6-yard box. They've come up to the 18-yard box. That will play into Australia's hands. Importance of Emerton and Carney getting forward. Good balls into the box because Kennedy is such an aerial threat for Australia. And Scott McDonald, who's used to playing against packed defences, Celtic, of course, one of the major teams in Scotland. They're used to travelling and playing against teams that really pack their defence. He's really a scraps player. Always in and around the box. He'll play off Kennedy. And of course, as we just saw before, that first opportunity, Cahill makes great runs from midfield into the penalty box.
Bresciano was fouled by Saad Al-Shamari. And referee will just have a word and tell him to settle things down. It was a bit late. Free kick's been taken short to Jason Kalina. Carney. Trying to measure the centre. Bresciano lays it back. Wilkshire looking for McDonald's. Half-hearted appeals for a shirt tug.
Ed Craig Moore had come from all the way from centre-half. Outside of him, Luke Wilkshire. Crossing the ball from that sort of area, I think, does play into Qatar's hands. It's a lot easier to defend that sort of ball. When you get further down the line and try and get in behind them, that's going to be difficult with them sitting so deep.
Now this is Kalfan Ibrahim, who's slight in stature but big in talent. Just come back from a lengthy knee injury, tore his cruciate ligament, and had Quintana been fit and available tonight to play, Ibrahim might have been left on the bench. He's been pressed into service. Here's Ali Afif, who's got very good feet. In fact, we've been told that he actually scored a Maradona-type goal in the Q League a few weeks back.
He's certainly nice on the ball, nice technique. What a job he's got playing up there on his own. It'll be a long night for him.
Well, that's a beautiful ball by Ali Afif. Fabio Cesar trying to control it on the edge of the box, and just a little warning sign there for Australia. The abilities of the Qatar team. Here's Scott McDonald up. Referee not interested. Scott McDonald asked the question. This is Fabio Cesar. There's the possession stats confirming that Australia well on top, at least in that department. Now, mistake by Kalina. Talal Al-Blouchi takes over. Majdi Siddiq. Ibrahim Al-Ghana. Actually, sheer weight of numbers for Australia win the day. Brett Emerton's pace takes him clear. Not too many options in the middle.
Had to come back because there was nobody in the box. Broke too quick for his own players, Brett Emerton.
Bresciano. It's Jorge Fossati's voice you can hear barking over our sideline camera microphone. There he is, he of the bulging manic eyes back in 2005. Certainly love revenge tonight. Emerton's ball in. Kennedy climbs! What a goal! Josh Kennedy! Big Josh! Big goal on the big occasion!
That's a great header. Brett Emerton with the ball. Had some tail on it. That's exactly why he's there, Kennedy. Such an aerial threat. Great lead over two players. It guides the ball back from where it's come from. Great direction in the header. To the far corner, gives Sakar no chance. Exactly the start that Australia wanted.
Well, he's in great nick. Josh Kennedy scored at the weekend for Karlsruhe. That's just his second international goal, and what a start for Pimverbeek. His era, Australia's World Cup, is up and running after just 11 minutes. They couldn't have wished for anything better. Now Qatar have to keep their shape, keep their focus. Australian tails are up. Header at full stretch by Marconi Amaral. Bresciano. Again, they look for the aerial threat, this time of Cahill.
And look how deep they are, Qatar. Right on the penalty spot. And that's why the chance falls to Josh Kennedy, because they're so deep. The ball played in from a long way from Emerton. This one time it was Bresciano cutting back onto his left foot. I think that comes off a Qatari defender. Should have been a corner. Certainly Josh Kennedy, you're going to sit that deep. Any ball in the air with any quality on it, the way Emerton put the quality on his cross, and it's going to be a chance.
That will be a corner, as directed by Scott McDonald. Took a touch off a maroon shirt last. Scotty McDonald, whose international career has not really got going yet. Big night for him. Winning just his 6th cap. Luke Wiltshire, by contrast, is a veteran with his 22nd. And here's the corner. They'll look for the height again. It goes to the near post, and it was Marconi Amaral with a header, claiming he was fouled.
He's gone for another corner. You see, anytime the ball's into the box, Josh Kennedy's such a threat. Not only him, Lucas Neal, Craig Moore, and of course Timmy Cahill.
Wiltshire goes deeper this time, much deeper. Surely handball against Neal, back into the middle, and Cahill over the top. And Qatar are a bit frustrated there, and I think they've got a case. I thought it was a handball against Lucas Neal.
A different option on the corner. Can't see there, but the ball swung back in. Just stretching, Timmy Cahill was behind him. Couldn't get downward pressure on that ball.
He's such a threat though, isn't he, Tim Cahill? Hasn't played for Australia, Cahill, since the Japan game at the quarterfinals of the Asian Cup. Actually not started for the Socceroos since last February against Denmark. He's in from the off tonight. Now here's Neal. Carney up in support. Oh, the shot is just wide from Luke Wiltshire.
That's great vision from Carney, great movement. It was a beautiful pass. Really skimmed across the grass into Timmy Cahill from Lucas Neal. That's where it started from. And Carney picked up the run, the late run from Wiltshire. He hits that one with his laces, just gets a bit too much the outside of the boot. Certainly had Sakar scrambling across his goal mouth.
This is Majdi Siddiq. Qatar need to relieve some pressure. Their captain, Saad Al-Shamari. Now Ibrahim Kalfa. Al-Shamari. Easily cut out by Jason Kalina. That's what he's there for. Foul against McDonald's by Abdullah Konek. Now, let's have another look at the goal quickly. Was this offside, Robbie Slater?
Well, Josh Kennedy's the one who scores, so for me, that's not offside. Clearly.
Correct. Just clearing it up.
I think that did the job. In days gone by, that, of course, would have been offside. To show you how deep they were sitting, Qatar.
This is Emerton.
Great start to the game from Brett Emerton. Really looks in the mood. In the right full-back position on the team sheet, but certainly more like a right winger. He's the one who supplied the cross for Josh Kennedy. That time, good feet. That's what I like to see Brett Emerton do. I don't think sometimes he is too conservative. He's so good on the ball, a good dribbler of the ball. A good sign, he's in good touch. In fact, no real signs of any jet lag at all in the Australians. Great start to this match.
Only played 16 minutes, of course. It's been a great start. Carney's free kick. Cahill leaps. Australia have themselves another corner.
They really just flighted that one to the back post. Timmy Cahill started central, pulled off the shoulder, went around the back. I think a ball whipped in with pace from that sort of area is maybe a better option.
3-zip in the corner cap. Wilkshire's ball in, and flicked it at the near post. Tim Cahill, Australia are 2 goals to the good.
And that's exactly the sort of ball, whipped in with pace. All you need is someone attacking. The Qataris static. Timmy Cahill attacks the ball, a glancing header. No Qatari defender on the back post. Can't understand that. At this level of football, you should have 2 players, one on the near post, one on the back post. Might have had a chance of clearing that. Timmy Cahill doesn't care. Here's the ball, Wilkshire whipped in with pace, nice and flat, attacks the ball, just guides it to the far corner, and Australia go 2 up.
Tim Cahill, Australia's go-to man in front of goal, comes up with another priceless strike. And Qatar really are getting murdered in the air. Jorge Fossati, from their point of view, has got to perhaps try something a bit different, because they're just not dealing with the aerial threat.
Yeah, I don't know if Fossati's really done his homework that well. You know, he wants to sit deep and hit on the counter-attack, but if you look at the Australian lineup, particularly McDonald and Kennedy, not blistering pace.
Brett Everton showing blistering pace here, though. They close them off at the pass.
So I would have thought for Qatar, they could have afforded to push higher up the pitch a little bit. Even Cahill, not really blistering pace, those runs from midfield. Pace comes really from, say, Emerton on the right-hand side. Could have afforded to maybe push up the pitch, certainly higher than what they've done. What they've done now is they've just invited balls into the box. And what we've seen, the result, 2 headed goals from the Australians. So for me, Fossati's got it wrong.
This is Ali Afif trying to relieve some of the pressure, but he can't do so. It's good stuff by the Socceroos. Really come out with intent to stamp their authority on the game. McDonald. Bresciano in space. Again, time to measure the cross. The goalkeeper comes out and this time claims. Maybe that's the solution.
Tim Verbeek looking on, be absolutely delighted. Laid all his cards on the table, of course. He asked for no warm-up games, preferred to have camps with the Hyundai A-League players. When you look at the lineup tonight, you can maybe understand that. Didn't bring Harry Cool across. A-League players really told they weren't good enough. Brought all the overseas based players. He's got a 2-0 scoreline early on in the first half.
David Carney's seen a fair bit of the ball and he's picked up Bresciano. Nobody tracked the run. Qatar survive on that occasion.
Well, they've lost their shape, Qatar. The heads are down. Really little movement. They just can't get out of their own half.
This is Majdi Siddiq. Khalfan Ibrahim. Carney turns away from trouble. Used his body superbly there, David Carney. Really has come on another level since moving overseas, David Carney.
And also, I think those games at the Asian Cup did him any harm at all. Either he's sort of new confidence. Really used to see him in the left-back role, although tonight, of course, it's only left-back, as I said, with Emerton on paper. Playing completely in Qatar's half. And he looks comfortable, doesn't he? Nice and confident on the ball. He's not really the best at receiving the ball with the back to goal. He likes to receive the ball, open himself up when he's got a bit of space in front of him. I think that's where he operates well. And like Emerton, he can dribble the ball as well. Important to have players who can go quickly, cover space with the ball at the feet.
not even halfway through the first half yet, and already it's looking increasingly steep hill for Qatar. Can they get back in the game here? Khalfan Ibrahim, Saad Al-Shamari. Too easy for Craig Moore. Not sure they're going to win aerial battles in any part of the pitch, Qatar. This is Marconi Amaral. The Brazilian-born Qataris not too pleased that he didn't get the throw in there.
Well, I don't know what he thought he had the throw, and it clearly come off him. There was no push. Maybe that headgear is covering his eyes a little bit.
Now there's perhaps a bit of a break on for El Anabi or the Maroons. Talal Al-Blushi. There's Mustafa Abdullah in support on the left. Saad Al-Shamari has gone up to join him in this attack. This is Khalfan Ibrahim to Majdi Siddiq. Al-Shamari. Abdullah Kone. Foul by Kane on the Qatar captain.
I thought he was just quicker to the ball there. Referee's assistant flagging for a foul. Fossati's up. He looks very frustrated, talking to his defenders.
Well, Abdullah Kone has gone up to lend some height for this set piece, which is perhaps a commodity they're a bit lacking. Brazilian Marconi Amaral is there as well. And Mark Schwarzer is finally called into action.
They came out well, read it well.
Look at the space here. Bresciano, oh, if that ball had gone through, Luke Wiltshire was away. Now Khalfan Ibrahim. Well, not a bad effort. A man who's predicted to have a huge future. He's still just 19. Plays for Al Sadd. He's, as I said, pretty slight in stature, just 5 feet 6 inches tall. He's already scored 13 goals in 15 internationals. Gives you some idea as to his pedigree. So far, new qualifying zone or not, it's been a pretty cruisy ride thus far for the green and gold. Here's Scott McDonald taking on Marconi Amaral. "21 goals for Celtic this season. Afif just unable to keep the ball in play. Emerton's throw in, Cale's header, beautifully controlled by Josh Kennedy.
It's a bit of a panic back there. Went from the left side of the penalty box.
Have a drink, Portugal.
Literally just wellied that out. The wrong side of the pitch. And they look so flat, the Qataris. Goals really knocking the stuffing out of them.
The other thing is they're not used to playing in front of crowds like this. They've got a league at home that attracts plenty of stars, but not many people to watch. It's just coming back with alarming regularity at them at the moment. This is Carney.
No, they haven't been able to deal with Australia's movement. the way they've zipped the ball around. It's a great evening in Melbourne. The pitch is in perfect condition to move that ball quickly, and it's exactly what they've done. Australian, they've done it well. They've mixed as well. Bresciano, the runs from Cahill.
Here is Bresciano. Again, he's not been tracked. Kennedy! That's a good stop by Mohamed Saka.
Yeah, he was going the other way. We talked about the movement. There it was again. Bresciano finding himself completely unmarked into the penalty box. Found Josh Kennedy. Just didn't get the right sort of purchase that he would have liked. But it still had Saka going the wrong way. He sticks his right boot out to stop it.
Now, corner. Another aerial threat. Could spell trouble for Qatar. Wilkshire's ball in. Marconi, Amaral was there. Wilkshire gets a second bite at it. Carney's header. Abdullah Kone up towards Kalina on halfway, but they're very slow to get out.
Oh, they're walking.
Now Cahill. So much room for Australia. McDonald offside. They look as though they're half asleep at
They
times.
were. As the ball was cleared, Wilkshire, the initial corner was cleared by Marconi. Amaral, here is clearly offside. Decision from the referee's assistant, an easy one. But the ball came back to Wilkshire, was cleared again, and then they were just strolling out. And I think there's a few of those Qataris hiding at the moment. Don't really want the ball.
Well, they're certainly a better football team than they're showing at the moment. They've got Australia 21 times inside the Qatar penalty area. We've not played half an hour yet. This is Al Shamri, and the flag was a touch late, but it arrived.
Mustafa Abdullah finding himself forward. See there.
It's a tight one.
It was very tight, but probably just about right. Managed to get on the wrong side. Australian defender.
And that was a bit too close to call. And the old advantage to the attacking team. Well, the Socceroos in cruise control at the moment. Verbeek, thus far, gets the big tick. He's obviously done his homework, and I can tell you there are plenty of Dutch coaches as well plying their trade in Qatar, including a guy called Tini Royce, who works at the national academy called Aspire. He used to be Verbeek's assistant at Fortuna Sittard, so I wonder whether a phone call or two has been made in that direction. This is Emerton's ball in, and McDonald went for it. Good work by Marconi Amaral.
Talked about Australia moving that ball quickly. Jason Kalina doing a very good job in that role. Just in front of the back four. He's always there on the ball, always available. What he's doing well is he keeps the ball moving. Trolling it, times two touch most of the time. He's such a gifted player, Jason Kalina. Holding role is something that's probably not his favourite. He's playing it so well, very disciplined. Look at him there behind Emerton. This is Wilkshire, but just behind him is Kalina, always available. Such a wonderful technique, great passer of the ball. Hit them short, hit them long. Really started off his career as an attacking player. He's shown his versatility in recent years, very adaptable. Plus we're seeing him in that holding role tonight.
They're still with PSV Eindhoven, of course, but his contract does come to an end at the end of the season. Whether he might be looking at pastures new. Here's Josh Kennedy, who has just switched clubs from Nuremberg to Karlsruhe, who's already on the mark tonight. Luke Wilkshire. Emerton up against Mustafa Abdullah. Well, the throw has gone Qatar's way. Which I don't think Brett Emerton entirely agreed with. Don't get sloppy is the shout from that far right-hand side. It's Qatar who are sloppy again, though. McDonald, Bresciano! The Melbourne boy, on his return to his hometown, gets the third. And Australia, surely even at this early stage, are home and host.
Well, it's far too simple. Whilst into the penalty box, Scott McDonald, great awareness from him. He had Josh Kennedy, who was marked, but he holds it up just at the right time. Look at the mistake there coming out of defence. Sometimes he's got to clear your lines. Scott McDonald sees the late run of Bresciano from midfield. Doesn't he finish it well? Still got quite a bit to do. It's at low and hard across the keeper. Sakar has no chance.
Well, we're even treated to a bit of the I am Spartacus celebrations.
I do remember that. And I think you called it, Simon.
I did. I'm sure Jorge Fossati remembers it. His team is having a nightmare here. Can Khalfan Ibrahim change that? They're just ball watching in defence. They're not tracking the runners.
It's not ball watching. There's a lack of, seems to be enthusiasm. Conceded that goal, of course. Fossati would have emphasised to his team the need not to concede an early goal. They did that, but their heads went straight down. And really, there's been a lot of their players hiding. There's been no willingness, really, to break forward. They've sat far too deep. I knew they were going to sit deep. I never thought they'd sit as deep as they have done. The thing is, in midfield, they haven't tracked their runners either, as was the case with Bresciano.
Bresciano's 10th international goal. He'll have really enjoyed that one in his hometown. Really, if you're a Qatar player here, Robbie, you're looking at the scoreboard and thinking 10 minutes to go to half-time.
Well, just completely been outplayed. And we talked about Qatar's preparation being much better than Australia's, and that there's no doubt. But it just shows you can't replace quality. And that's what Australia have on their side.
Into touch off Mostly Sadiq, and listen to the reception for Pim Verbeek as he gets a touch of the ball. Yeah, you have a smile, Pim. Your team's winning.
Very relieved. I'm sure he thought he was always favourite for this game.
That's another ball in towards Cahill, and that's another good stop by the goalkeeper. Credit to him.
That's a great stop. Again, a late run from Cahill. Look where they were sitting again, nearly on top of their 6-yard box. Look how deep they are. Cahill completely unmarked. He'll be disappointed he didn't get his second. Just going back to Pim Verbeek, I'm sure he always thought he was going to win this game, but still, you just never know, and he's a very relieved man.
Oh, we're going to have to find a nickname for him, aren't we? Aussie Pim. We're told that a magazine came up with Hus Light, but it's probably a bit disrespectful. This is Khalfan Ibrahim. That's a good ball through. Was there a push by Moore? Waved away. And in fairness, no great appeal from Ali Afif.
Just physically too strong. That's another area where Australia have dominated in this first half.
I don't think he's broken sweat yet, Craig Moore, has he? Which Fred Farina will be happy about, as he's due to play on Friday in the A-League finals against Sydney. This is Mustafa Abdullah. Field for Talal Al-Blushi. Ibrahim Al-Ghanem. And ball against Alvan Ibrahim. Chance for Brett Emerton to get the motor going down the right-hand touchline. Leaves it for Wiltshire. Carney. At least somebody's tracked Bresciano's run this time. Carney. McDonald. Again, they've rather played their way into trouble, Qatar, but it's wasted by Bresciano. Josh Kennedy took a heavy knock. That will be of some concern. Phil Coles, the Australian physio, is going to have a very busy week, was quickly on his feet on the touchline. He's going to accompany several of the Socceroos back to Europe. Wiltshire, blocked by Marconi Amaral.
Oh, they cause some problems every time he does that. Luke Wiltshire just tucks in from the right-hand side of midfield and just opens up that channel for Brett Emerton to power into.
I think the most telling factor at the moment, Robbie, is the fact that Jorge Fossati, who was so vocal and demonstrative in the first 15-20 minutes, is sat on his seat quietly.
Well, there's not really much you can say. They've just been outclassed, Qatar.
He is racking his brains as to how his team can, or perhaps even keep this scoreline respectable. That's a good header. Abdullah Kone, one of the naturalised players. He was born in Senegal, same as the goalkeeper, Mohamed Saka. This is Mustafa Abdullah. Talal Al-Blushi. Asking a bit much of Scott McDonald, that ball.
It certainly was. Just a touch too long. Brett Emerton, well, that's the first bad thing he's done all night. He's been excellent down that right-hand side.
Sorry, Robbie, winning his 63rd cap tonight, Brett Emerton, which makes him the 5th most capped Socceroo of all time. Puts him 2 behind Peter Wilson on the next run.
He's been a great servant. Still got a bit to go as well, I'd say.
Well, I wonder whether he's going to be the man to beat Alex Tobin's record of 87. He's still only 29. In fact, he doesn't turn 29 until later this month. It's better work by Qatar. At least it was. Majdi Siddiq incurring the wrath of his Uruguayan coach. I don't think he'll be spending his holidays in Australia, do you, Jorge Fossati?
Definitely not.
And I can tell you that he's immediately told one of his substitutes to start warming up after a little piece of play from Majdi Siddiq.
Look how easy it is. Australia just strolling into that final third.
Carney's ball hung high for Josh Kennedy. Again, miscommunication between defender and goalkeeper this time.
Well, you talk about their preparation, talks about it being better than Australia's. Had 3 warm-up games, Denmark, Iran, Syria. A lot of preparation, and really, they're playing as if they don't even know each other. That misunderstanding between the keeper and Marconi.
Well, I do just wonder whether the occasion's got to them, because they are a much better team than they're showing at the moment. I was told that earlier on in the week they went on a shopping expedition, and the thing they wanted to buy most of all was Socceroo jerseys. I just wonder whether that sort of shows the mentality that they were a bit in awe of some of the players they were going to play against. Here's Everton, Cahill. Time for the first touch. Wiltshire tried to side foot it home. Carney's header. Bresciano. Carney time to showboat. A bit too much. Charged down by Everton. Kennedy waits. And that's a good challenge in the end to put it behind for a corner by Ibrahim Algana.
That was a mistake from Mustafa Abdullah. And Amaral cleaning up his left back's mistake. In fact, it wasn't Amaral, it was Coney. It gives away another corner.
5-zip. It has been pretty much one-way traffic. That was Ali Afif with the header. He's the centre forward, trying to help out. Nobody picking up Lucas Neal. Neal drives it across, it comes back off the keeper.
Well, they're so lucky.
Qatar just at 6s and 7s.
Well, they were so lucky it just fell to a Qatari player. Great ball across from Lucas Neal.
Here's Ali Afif, who does at least have a very sweet-looking left peg. Well, Al-Blouchi gets the foul, relieves some of the pressure.
Just poor defending again. Forsadi can't wait for half-time. Look at Lucas Neal, all this space. It's out of his feet. That's a wicked ball across the face of goal. Sakar gets a hand to it, and luckily for him, pushes it directly to a Qatari.
Well, is this a chance for a shot on goal?
Well, he may as well have a shot.
He is Brazilian, Fabio Cesar.
Oh, well. That about sums up the first half. That was awful. Never really hit it with any conviction. Forsadi's not impressed. And I don't know who the guy sitting next to him is, but he's got his head between his knees already.
Wasn't exactly Roberto Carlos, that was it.
I just hit it with no confidence, didn't he? They look shell-shocked.
Well, here's the best news of the first half for Qatar. There's only 1 minute of added time.
Well, Mark Schwarzer gets another touch. One hand. I think you can count the amount of touches he's had. It's a long way to come, isn't it? It's not touched the ball very much. Mark Schwarzer, the last to arrive.
This will probably be the last action of the first half, which has been entirely dominated by the home team.
Yeah, very good performance from Australia. Moved the ball well, great movement. Talk about lack of preparation. Well, most of these players hadn't met Pim Verbeek. You certainly wouldn't know it. They've played with real cohesion in this first half.
This is Khalfan Ibrahim, who has at least shown some nice touches. Well, it has been one-way traffic. Piece of cake, this Asian World Cup qualifying. Just kidding, long way to go, but certainly the way that they've started the Socceroos has been superb. Kennedy, Cahill, Bresciano, all on the mark. Qatar haven't offered much, and at the interval at the Telstra Dome, the job is, well, all but done for the green and gold. They lead by 3-0.
would have been the message in the Australian dressing room at half-time?
Oh, look, Pim Verbeek would have been super pleased with the way the players approached it. As I said early on, they really put pressure on the Qatar team. They emphasised that early goal and they came out firing. I guess in the second half, he'll be saying more of the same. It's important this team understands its role, get some cohesion going. So more of the same, I'd suggest.
OK, thanks, guys. It's time for the second half. We'll go back to our match commentators, Simon Hill and Robbie Slater.
Well, the Qataris came with a reputation somewhat of shutting up shop. I don't know what kind of shop it is, but whatever it is, won't make too much money giving away that many free gifts. It really was almost a capitulation in the first 45, and I'm sure Jorge Fossati has been hard at work in the 15-minute interval. As for Pim Verbeek, well, I'm sure it was a case of more of the same, please. I'm sure it won't be long before, with the game almost won, there might be one or two changes made, and we might get to see the likes of Carl Valeri, Jacob Burns, Brent Holman, maybe John Aloisi, or even local favourite Archie Thompson.
Well, certainly something Pim Verbeek and his coaching staff will be looking at once these players go back and got very important games. Archie Thompson would love to get on in front of his hometown fans, you could say.
Likes a bit of Akadaka too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Archie, remember him singing away to that after the draw against Croatia in the World Cup last year.
That's right, but no, there is that factor. These guys have got big games in Europe. Some of them, when they get there just the day before, by the time they get back, so I'm sure there'll be some thoughts from the coaching staff to give some of the other boys a run.
Now, Qatar, perhaps unsurprisingly, they're going to make a couple of changes. This is Bashar Al-Hamad, who is a midfielder, plays with Al-Sad. Number 17 is Wissam Rizik, who's replacing Mustafa Abdullah. I'm a bit surprised that Rizik didn't start in the first place. He's almost their go-to man in the middle of the park. And Al-Hamad, well, as I say, he's a midfielder too, just turns 22 next week, part of the Olympic squad. And he's replaced the captain. Well, obviously Jorge Fossati not happy with many things in that first 45, and his captain is one of those to pay the price. So we're back underway with a very healthy looking scoreline so far as the Socceroos are concerned. Well, I think you might need some divine intervention, Jorge Fossati.
Well, certainly had to try something, didn't he? Completely off the pace, completely outplayed in every facet of the game. It's a real sign. Well, not sure if he was maybe injured, his captain, but it's a big message to send to your team if you do take your captain off. He's got to get out. Sat far too deep in that first half.
Mark Schwarzer, who's virtually been able to sleep off the jet lag. So quiet has he been in the first half. This is Ibrahim Al-Ghana. Craig Moore just leisurely strokes it back to his keeper. This is Carney. Again, there's just too much room. Kennedy's chest. Cahill makes it. Wiltshire. Australia away again down the right. Tim Cahill. Kneels for the foul, but doesn't get it. This is Kalfan Ibrahim, whose father was a Qatari international as well, known as Ibrahim Kalfan. It's a bit confusing in their household. Well,
number 17 who's come on, Rizik, Probably thought he was going to start. He gets his chance in his second half and playing that midfield area where they were just completely dominated. I mean, the midfield just sat on top of the Qatari back three, or five, which it virtually was. Another run from Emerton, who was excellent in the first half.
This is Al-Ghanem. Incidentally, it looks as though Abdullah Kone has taken over the captain's armband for Qatar. Al-Hamad is playing on the left-hand side and will no doubt be told to get back and track those runs of Brett Emerton. In fact, he's just been told exactly that by Jorge Fossati. Now he's gone charging to Luke Wiltshire and leaves Al-Ghanem to come across and take care of the Blackburn Rovers winger.
Well, a lot of Australia's threat did come down that right-hand side. Mustafa Abdullah paying the price, losing his position.
This is Wiltshire. Donalds, rather careless. Touched by Wissam Rizik. Fabio Cesar's touch. Talal Al-Blouchi. This is a little bit better from Qatar, and they've got some numbers forward too.
Just a wasted pass, straight pass, far too much weight on it. A little bit better from Qatar in this opening period of the second half.
Kennedy's flick. What a shot by Luke Wiltshire. Real snapshot, and it was hard to handle for Mohamed Sakr, who again did well.
No, I think he saw it late. It really was. Little backlift in the shot. He takes it early. Probably not expecting him to shoot from there. See the very little backlift and gets a lot of power, generates into Sakar, who stops it. I think he saw it late.
Wiltshire will be to take the corner. He fancies his debut goal tonight at international level, I think, Luke Wiltshire. This is Ali Afif. Was he tripped by Cahill? He was.
Afif had a long way to go there, even if he wasn't fouled. I mean, 5 yellow shirts.
There's the Australian substitutes going through some gentle limbering up exercises. Not sure it'll be too long before we see one or two of them. It's only out of courtesy to one or two of the European clubs. Maybe that some agreement has been reached with one or two of them. We don't know.
Well, we know some of the managers certainly weren't happy. David Moyes from Everton, probably one of the most vocal. But the players really made their own minds up in the end. They don't want to be there. They've experienced the World Cup, a lot of these players, 2006, and they want to be there in 2010. Realising the importance of this game. Of course, still a long way to go.
This is Bresciano. Still with Palermo in Italy, despite recent transfer speculation. Wiltshire's ball in. Kennedy the obvious target. At least Abdullah Kone is trying to stick a bit closer to him. Ali Afif hasn't had any change at all out of Messrs Carney, Neal, Moore. Carney digs it out. And one or two appeals by the Qataris for a foul. referee has so far refused to be intimidated by those appeals. At times this is a bit like a training session for the Socceroos, just able to keep possession almost at will.
No, they've moved the ball well, and that game tonight's been the key. It's keeping possession. They've moved it quickly. To be fair, they have been given a lot of space. Completely dominated the midfield area. Al Belushi, Siddiq, who's now gone, Fabio Cesar being rarely cited. Mustafa Abdullah, the number 13, who played on the left-hand side in the first half, has moved to the right-hand side, allowing substitute to come on. Misad looks to have a bit of pace about him. He's pushed further up the field. Certainly Abdullah did in the first half.
By Cahill. Kennedy got there first. Appeal for a high boot. This is the substitute, Wissam Rizk, who was actually born in Kuwait of Palestinian parents. I told you they were an eclectic bunch. This is Bresciano. Carney hairs away down the left. Scott McDonald. Nice to see him get a goal tonight. His confidence a world of good at international level. Everton chips it in. Header wide by Cahill. Should have been 4 perhaps.
Should have been having got there. What a great ball from Brett Emerton. Josh Kennedy made a run to the near post. Emerton saw it. You see there, Emerton with his head up. Kennedy goes near post. Cahill goes in around the back, and Brett Emerton has the quality to pick him out. He heads that to the right direction, but he actually heads it too well.
Australia's 11th shot. And you have to say, although Tim Cahill does that so well at club level as well, again, there was nobody tracking the run.
But it does have that ability from midfield. The midfielder lets him go, thinking one of the centre-halves will pick him up. Centre-half, if he gets caught at all ball watching.
Centre-halves have got enough to do, Robbie.
Particularly when you've got Josh Kennedy up there. That's a gift, you know, not all midfielders can do it. It's something that's why, rather, that Cahill is so well respected in the English Premier League and really sought after. I'm sure there's a lot of clubs and managers that love to have him.
Says he'd happily stay at Goodison for the rest of his career.
Great play, Lucas Neal into Wilkshire, keeping possession. Some good touch, Lucas Neal as well. I think he's playing in his more preferred position tonight. West Ham is right back. For the Socceroos, he really is the linchpin at the back there. He's found his old mate Craig Moore.
They've had a very comfortable night. There'll be more tricky tests to come. Bresciano! And again, the goalkeeper comes to Qatar's rescue.
Well, I thought that was going to hit the back of the net. That's the sort of position he loves, Bresciano. Remember the away game against China, exactly the same position, same technique, opening himself up, going for the far corner. This time he can't find the back of the net. Beautiful bit of skill to go past the defender. Couldn't find the finish.
Abdullah Kona made a real mess of that, but not a lucky bounce. Now, Ali Afif up against Moore and Neal. Oh, and he turns Craig Moore superbly. Good ball in. Oh, and he should have finished, the substitute. Al Al-Hamad into the side netting. Real chance for Jorge Fossati's team to get a toehold in the game, and they've blown it.
Great play from Afif. He's had no service at all, and this time he does it all on his own. Great ball to the back post. What is he thinking there? That's just poor technique. He's trying to open himself out and slide it in. He needs to go with his left foot. Well, to be fair, even if he's going to go with his right foot, he still should bury it. That was really a poor finish.
That was Qatar's moment.
Well, just a bit of a wake-up call for the Socceroos.
Tim Cahill was lucky he didn't get a boot to the face there, but he's come away with the football. Disappointing cross. It'll come out to Carney. Beats the fullback with ease. Good ball in. Goalkeeper came, never got anywhere near it. Kennedy over the top.
I think the keeper, Sakar, just does enough to put Josh Kennedy off. Great ball in from Carney. Great wing play. Gets around behind his defender, Josh Kennedy. Great leap. He just can't get his header downward, because if he does, the keeper's out and he gets his second. They can have no complaints about the service they've had from Edmonton and Carney tonight. I think that was the game plan from Pim Verbeek, and it's worked a treat.
Yeah, plenty of credit to Verbeek and the Socceroos. Got to say, at some stage in this group, it's going to get an awful lot tougher. Probably in China next month.
Kunming's the destination. Altitude. I'm not so sure we'll have the same team for that game.
Bresciano forced a little wide by Marconi Amaral, who concedes the corner. Well, Brazilians had a tough night. Corner counts continues to rack up in the Socceroos' favour. And we're still shy of the hour mark. Wilkshire's corner. Kennedy the target. Well, it's not rocket science. Australia's plan at times from set pieces, but it's dealing with it. Now the counter is on. Al-Hamad, who missed that chance some moments ago. They've got numbers forward. Ali Afif! That's a good stop by Schwarzer. First save he's had to make.
Yeah, good save. Expect him to save it on his near post, but it's a good, strong hand. And Afif again shows that he's a real threat. You just wonder if Qatar had been a bit more adventurous from the start of this game and backed themselves a bit more, that might have been more of a contest. Good work from Hamad. Al-Hamad feeds Afif. He's very quick. Shot with the left foot. Good save from Schwarzer.
Is there just a hint, Robbie, after an hour, that one or two legs perhaps are starting to tire? Two good chances for Qatar.
And it would be understandable. And it's the way we expected them to play on the counter-attack. Both their chances coming exactly in that fashion.
It's well read by Abdullah Kodak. Australia committed numbers forwards. On the left if they can find him, Qatar. This is Kalfan Ibrahim.
A bit more confidence about their play now.
Here is Al-Hamad, who's given them a bit of something after coming off the bench. Fabio Cesar. And after 61.5 minutes, Qatar have had their first corner.
So they've started to play.
It's in front of their little knot of supporters as well, who are madly waving those Qatar flags. Fabio Cesar to take. Tim Cahill's header. And the other enjoyed themselves. Saw one or two flags from Saudi and the UAE in there as well. Obviously a band of brothers from the Middle East tonight. Scott McDonald did well to keep that ball in play.
And some ball from Lucas Neal, 60-metre pass for Scott McDonald, who was just a little bit isolated.
This is Al Hamad. Al Ghana. Rizik goes back to his goal kick. Headed by Craig Moore. No foul on McDonald. Ibrahim Kalfa. Ali Afif has gone to ground rather theatrically. Not sure whether he got some knock to the face. That's what he's saying. And a yellow card has been issued to Lucas Neal.
That was Craig Moore that got the block, so...
Has he issued the yellow card to both of them, or just the one?
No, I don't think to Lucas Neal. I think he just got it wrong, so... Craig Moore putting his hand up. Referee has had a good match, playing play to go on. I'm not sure he did a lot wrong, Craig Moore. Obstruction of course. There's no elbow up. Maybe a touch harsh, and the Australian bench now calling some substitutes.
First yellow card of the game. That's our second corner. Good punch by Schwarzer. Marconi, Amaral with the header, but nobody there, and that's first yellow card. Is going to be quickly followed, I think, by a second. Abdullah Kone.
Out of frustration, Abdullah Kone. Josh Kennedy hobbling off behind the goal. Catches him on the back of the ankle and the Achilles.
Confirmation of the yellow for the stand-in captain of Qatar. Josh Kennedy's struggling a wee bit.
They called.
Phil Coles is indicating that change needs to be made.
He won't be coming back on.
That would be a sad end to Josh Kennedy's night, because he's played ever so well. Meantime, another change is going to be made, and Tim Cahill, perhaps unsurprisingly, is going to be withdrawn. Job done. Carl Valeri's coming on.
Good game from Tim Cahill. Standing ovation.
Doesn't he just love coming home, Tim Cahill?
It's not bad when you come all that way, though, is it? You get a goal for your country, you hear the national anthem in front of a full house, and you get a standing ovation. I think that makes it worth it. I'm not sure David Moyes would agree.
I'm sure he wouldn't. Josh Kennedy is still struggling with that left ankle. John Aloisi is standing by. Carl Valeri, incidentally, the Canberra boy, winning his 5th cap for his country. He's got a race home as well to play against Albino Leffe in Serie B at the weekends. Valeri. was his first touch.
Not a bad first touch either. Found Bresciano beautifully.
Emerton.
Just looking at Brett Emerton, I don't think he'll be coming off.
That's a good ball by Valeri. Kept in by Carney. Oh, and again, the goalkeeper has a little bit of a flap. He's not great on crosses. He's a good shot stopper, isn't he, Mohamed Saka? And he's a bit of the old Dracula. Frightened of the crosses.
Johnny Aloisi coming on. I'd say John, a little bit disappointed not to start the game tonight. That's what the reaction you want from your players, of course. But he will get a 22 minutes this injury time to show Pim Verbeek that what he can do. Of course, a very, very famous name in Australian football now, after a certain balmy night in November 2005.
I don't think he's exactly what Jorge Fossati needs to see at this moment. I'll tell you what, he's still after Damien Mori's record, of course, John Aloisi. 27 international goals, Mori on 29. Nation's greatest ever goal scorer. So that's within his grasp. Possibly the only man who doesn't want to see John Aloisi come on is Laurie McKinnon.
And of course, some big semi-final return legs coming up this weekend on Fox Sports. Friday, Queensland, Sydney. In the balance, that one. Central Coast, Newcastle on Sunday.
Well, there's no doubt that the Socceroos' pace has slackened off somewhat. Points are in the bag, but Qatar seeing a lot more of the football.
I think Australia have certainly taken the foot off, maybe tired a little bit. They played a high pressing game in that first half, and that does take its toll.
This is Talal Al-Bloushi. He gets chopped by David Carney, and now the change will be made. Applause not only for John Aloisi, but also for Josh Kennedy, who's had a great night tonight. We have our fingers crossed that injury is not too serious. So, John Aloisi's 55th cap. 20 minutes to go.
You know when you're having a good night, when you clear a ball, it goes straight to your own player. David Carney just trying to get that away from danger, went straight to Marco Bresciano.
Wayward pass from skipper Lucas Neal. Picked up in midfield by Fabio Cesar.
The substitution definitely made a difference for Qatar in the second half. Al Hamid, number 18, who missed that fantastic chance. Certainly pushed up a lot further on in the first half, resulting in winning the ball higher up the pitch.
Now, Khalfan Ibrahim, chance to run at Lucas Neal. We know he's got good skill. Neal stood up, just did enough. There's certainly more of a goal threat about Qatar's second half. That's easy enough for Brett Emerton. Mark Schwarzer, his 53rd cap tonight. He's moved to within just 4 of the goalkeeping record for the Socceroos, of course, which is held by his old rival, Zeljko Kalac. Now miscommunication between Kone and Kone Amaral concedes another corner. He's saying he didn't hear Abdullah Kone. Fans behind this goal want another goal. Everton. Bresciano just trying to lift it over the top. Spotted the run of Carney, who's now out of position. Qatar breaking the shape of Al-Hamad. Rizik forward to Kalfan Ibrahim. Al-Blushi. Now this is Mustafa Abdullah. Abdullah Kone. Ibrahim Al-Ghana. Trip by Wilkshire.
Oh, nice skill there. Fabio Cesar, a lot more of the ball in the second half. This guy's been good since he's come on. Rizik.
Here's Wilkshire, who by right should be the first man substituted. He's going to be back in the Netherlands on Friday to play against Heracles for Twente. That after a 32-hour journey to get here. This is Bresciano. It's too much on it from McDonald. Now, confirmation of the crowd figure tonight. It's just shy of capacity, 50,969. Which again is a marvellous sight to see. All these returning Socceroos. Used to be once upon a time, Robbie, that if Harry Kewell and Mark Viduka didn't show, you couldn't get a crowd.
No, it shows how important the other Socceroos now. Of course, the 2006 World Cup in Germany did that. Players became household names. Of course, Harry Kewell is still probably, I would say, the most popular Socceroo. Viduka not far behind, I guess, but some of these other ones are very well known as well.
There's a very high boot by Abdullah Kone, who admits it because he's already on a yellow.
Maybe the Socceroos brand name is bigger than the individual now. It's certainly a high boot, there's no doubt about that.
Another change being pondered by Jorge Fossati. That's Jassim standing by. It's the final quarter of an hour. Carney's free kick. Headed back across goal by Aloisi and out by Abdullah Kone. Jassim just receiving his instructions. Midfielder, striker from Al Rayyan. We're also told that Brett Holman's going to make an appearance very shortly for Australia. Meantime, here's the corner. Alina lifts it in. Aloisi goes for it. Keeper got something on it. Headed back towards goal by Neil. Off the line by Kone, who was fouled by Carney.
And just for a moment, it looked like Lucas Neal's looping header might drop in, but Sakar did well to get back. They do struggle with anything aerial. There, Johnny Aloisi gets cleaned up by Sakar as he comes out and punches. Ball falling to Neil, who just looped it back. In the end, Carney commits the foul as he's coming in.
Substitution.
Now the change is going to be made. Brett Holman is coming on for Craig Moore, and this, Robbie, could be the end of a marvellous international career, Craig Moore, who takes the applause.
Yeah, job well done tonight, Craig Moore. Didn't ever run away. Could be his last appearance. I think he's shown here tonight that it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Now, confirmation too that Wally Jassim has replaced Talal Al-Blouchi for Qatar. He's one of the native-born Qataris who's got a lot of promise apparently, but again, according to the former coach, lacks the application.
Just a change in formation for Australia, of course, with Craig Moore going off. Brett Emerton's slid across from the right back position to play alongside Lucas Neal. Wilkshire's moved back to the right back position, and Brett Holman has moved to the right midfield position. Of course, an attacking player, Brett Holman. So Pim Verbeek confident enough in Brett Emerton for him to play centrally.
Well, he's played there before, hasn't he? Even at the World Cup. Very versatile player. I'm sure he's spoken to Gus Hiddink about Emerton's capabilities. Virtually the first choice on Hiddink's team sheet, and I'm sure it'll be one for Pim Verbeek too. Now Mustafa Abdullah almost caught Schwarzer by surprise.
Went straight at him. Mark Schwarzer has had a reasonably comfortable night. One very good save, Afif. That one really just lacked the venom needed to really cause him any problems, and the direction.
That's good work by McDonald. Holman, McDonald. And it's cut out by Marconi Amaral. Another corner.
He'd love a goal, wouldn't he, Scott McDonald? 21 goals for Celtic this season.
What do you think of his overall game tonight, Scott McDonald?
No, I think he's been very good. Worked well with Kennedy. He's now obviously partnering with Johnny Aloisi, but his movement's been good. He's been involved in a lot of the setup play. And he's been very close to getting a goal himself. And the one that Sakar pushed out just went past him in the first half from a corner.
Just delivery. Headed back into the danger zone by Valeri. Retrieved by Kalina, who's been excellent.
Yeah, great game from Jason Kalina in that holding role. Talked about him in the first half. He's been one of the picks as well. I'd like to see the stats on him, amount of passes and the amount of times he's received the ball and not given possession away.
Confidently done by Abdullah Kona. Nathan Calvert held up by Holman, trying to put through John Aloisi.
Yeah, it was good vision, wasn't it, from Holman? Good tackle, got his head up straight away, tried to find John Aloisi. The second half, Qatar, a different team. The players look more confident, there's a bit more sharpness about them. It's almost like the first half they were in awe of the Australians, and by the time they woke up, it was too late.
You're just not sure how much of that is attributable to Australia slackening off as well. They were all over the shop in the first half. In fact, Australia go to Kunming next month, and I think the second half of that word you could probably use to describe Qatar's first half performance.
I like it. It was very poor.
Mustafa Abdullah. Good putting balls in the air to 5'6" tall Halfan Ibrahim. This is Aloisi. Kone Amaral steps across. Al-Hamad. It's better from Qatar. Ali Afif. David Carney was there just to cut it out, and well, in the end, it was after you, Claude.
That was great defending by David Carney. He kept aware, he was alive to the danger. Play coming in on that back post, and much better play from Qatar. They've certainly pushed higher up the pitch in the second half. Of that, there's no doubt. That must have been the instructions from Forsavi. First half, they were way back at times, even on the penalty spot. That was another chance from the speed of Afif. He's looked a decent player in the second half.
This is Brett Emerton. Now Wiltshire.
Yeah, he's given us a bit of a show, hasn't he, Brett Emerton, tonight? That ball played out to the right with the outside of his right boot. We've seen the whole range of his skills.
Yeah, he's been terrific. Lucas Neal. Now, no flag against Aloisi. Great first touch. Just couldn't match it with the shot.
He scuffed it.
And he knows it. Oh.
What a chance to add to his tally, and more importantly, get a fourth for Australia. His first touch wasn't bad, maybe enough dragging it onto his left foot. Here comes this great ball played in, finds himself completely unmarked. He has to have another little touch there, and he just can't adjust his left foot. He's trying to open himself out, slide it into the far post, and he really scuffed his shot.
Substitute Valid Jassim, but he's lost out to Valeri. Schwarzer hammers it upfield. Oh, Garden. Ali Afif. No real movement up ahead. Now Hamad involved in a foot race with Wiltshire. In fact, they'll be pulled back by the referee because Afif was held back.
It's good refereeing. And a fine match, the referee from Malaysia.
Jorge Fossati got a vote of confidence this week from his president.
So we mightn't see him in the return leg. The return leg, well, it's not for a long time, but certainly that first half performance wouldn't have been viewed very well back in Qatar. And the second half really can't cover that fact at all.
He is. Well, that rare breed of coaches that used to be a goalkeeper. Don't get too many of those. Played between the posts for Peñarol. Offside. It's Scotty McDonald.
Yeah, it was good defending from Al Gannon. Just saw the run of McDonald. Aloisi had his head down. He just stepped up, allowed McDonald to run into an offside position. see how they're higher up the pitch and they've dealt with it better. I know, Simon, you said that the fact of the Australians maybe just taking the foot off the pedals contributed to that, and I'm sure that has, but still I think that he did change his tactics in the second half and it's largely worked.
Wally Jassim.
But unfortunately for them, the game was over.
This is Mustafa Abdullah. Emerton was there, as he's been all night. It's been the best possible start, not only for Australia but also for Pim Verbeek. His decision to bring back the overseas stars justified. Tonight, a lot of them have underlined why they are quality international players.
Oh, there's no doubt that it's a decision, a good decision. It's a World Cup qualifier. And very important for us to qualify for 2010. I have no problem with our overseas players coming back, or the fact that most of it, our best players play overseas. I just don't think that some of the comments made by Pim Verbeek were needed about the Hyundai A-League players. Sometimes some things you think are best kept to yourself. We know, as I said, where our best players are. And when we play a World Cup qualifier, we want to see them here.
Well, most of them have been here. They've done a good job for the new coach, who's a minute and a half away, plus added time. He's celebrating his first game in charge with 3 points. Then, of course, the planning starts for China next month, when it will be different again.
But it's a good start. Hopefully this sets a positive tone for the qualifiers. I mentioned the game in March, and then into June where the other 4 will be played. Well, this is a good start from Australia. Good performance, particularly in the first half. Got it right tactically. Pim Verbeek to play McKennedy and McDonald up front. Particularly the wide players as well. Carney and Emerton. He showed his hand that he was going to play attacking football. Craig Moore. Well, when you're winning, winners are grinners.
Incidentally, the Chinese audiences have had a sneak preview of what to expect. This game going live to China tonight. Also across most parts of the Middle East. 1 or 2 parts of Southeast Asia as well. So, really playing to a very big audience tonight. Fourth Officials Board has shown 2 additional minutes. Is there icing on the cake for Australia in the shape of a 4th goal? Brett Holman points to where he wants it. Oh, and his first touch just let him down. He wanted to take it with the right, and in fact, he actually hit his left.
I think he took his eye off it at the crucial moment.
Here we go.
Smart ball.
Whoops.
From Jason Kalina, yeah. Just took his eye off it, touched it with the left, and nearly an air swing with the right. Here's another one that's had a fine match for me, Jason Kalina. Australia haven't had a bad player. Been good at the back, nice and steady. A couple of chances, one very good one in the second half, another half a chance. Well led by Lucas Neal, the captain at the back. It's been good to see this sort of performance after the Asian Cup. Bowed out in the quarterfinals to Japan on penalties. It's nice to see the boys back home. Don't see them often.
Won't see them for long either. They're back on the plane boat tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Here's Scott McDonald. Is there a final flourish? Oh, the goalkeeper's come out a long way again.
Don't like crosses,
escapes. He does not.
A wicked ball in from McDonald. It was only Aloisi to pick out. But Sakar come flying out.
We're in no hurry to take this throw. Quick look at the watch by the referee. And that'll do. The Socceroos are up and running in the race for South Africa. 3 precious points, 55,000 smiling Socceroo fans, and one very happy, no doubt relieved, new coach in the shape of Pim Verbeek. Full time at the Telstra, Australia have defeated Qatar by 3-0. Well, handshakes and smiles between Jorge Fossati and Pim Verbeek. I don't think Fossati will mind if he never comes back to Australia. But in the end, it was pretty comfortable for the green and gold. They set the tone in the first 45 minutes with a really blistering start. Goals from Josh Kennedy, from Tim Cahill and Mark Bresciano. It might have been more, but in the final analysis, 3 was plenty.
Yeah, it was enough. Took the foot off the pedal somewhat in the second half, maybe a bit of fatigue as well. Qatar did get a little bit better. Fossati changed his team around, made a couple of substitutions, took up his captain. But really they were outplayed, out-muscled and out-thought in the first half. Complete domination in that half from Australia. They got 3 goals, they could have had more. The movement was great. Good performances all round. Standout performances from Brett Emerton, Jason Colina, Lucas Snell. Certainly everyone did their job.
And even Mark Schwarzer, who didn't have too much to do, made one very important stop. Clean sheets, of course, always crucial to the goalkeeper, and he's kept his 18th in 53 internationals. The crowd really lapped it up tonight and enjoyed seeing the likes of Tim Cahill and Schwarzer. The overseas Socceroos, they've maybe said goodbye to one local boy as well, Craig Moore. Josh Kennedy, well, he had a great night until injury puts paid to his participation. And you just wonder, Robbie, how many of these European stars will be available for the next game against China. That's going to be trickier still to get their release. Very tricky, and of course it's not a FIFA date, so it'll be up to the players really. The club's not having the obligation to release their players, so it could be a vastly different team. Verbeek will get to the drawing board, I guess. After this, we'll enjoy this for a while, maybe a day, and then he'll be looking ahead. But it's a good start from Australia, sets a tone for the rest of the qualifiers. Great to see the European-based players back here and in such good form that really did look like a team that had a very good preparation in that first half, the way they moved the ball around. I guess you take that, a lot of them played together, of course, in the 2006 World Cup. Quality players, of course, can adapt to different situations, difficult circumstances, travel, underprepared, but you can't replace quality, and I think we saw that in the first half. Australia had far too much.
OK, as the handshakes and smiles continue, let's hear from the Socceroos skipper. He's with Mel McLaughlin.
Lucas, you can't have wished for a better start to the campaign.
Yeah, it's a good win, and we knew we were going to get tired later, so it was important that we scored early, opened the game up a little bit, and we scored some really good goals today. It's just a pity we couldn't score another 1 or 2 just to kill the game off.
So you did take the foot off the pedal a little bit in the second half. That's fatigue obviously setting in.
I don't know if we took our foot off. I think it just ran out of steam. You know, the travelling without making excuses has taken its toll on us, but I think we showed good character, and we kept a clean sheet, which is important.
And nice to last the 90 minutes?
Yeah, always nice to last, and nice for some of these boys to get on the score sheet, and some boys to get really important match fitness under the belts, and to get a nice idea of the structure we're trying to play with the new coach.
And you guys obviously didn't get a lot of time for preparation, but especially the first half, you played like you play every week together.
Yeah, it's a really talented squad, and they seem to be real versatile and can adapt to any situation, and I suppose natural skill now and the fact that we're learning our trade overseas is making us better players, and when we come together, it all seems to gel because we're really proud to be back here representing the country.
and China next up's not going to be easy.
No, apparently it's going to be in altitude, which means it's going to be harder. It's going to be midweek again between 2 games in our regular season. So they're throwing a good test at us, but, you know, we're Australia and we've got big hearts and we should step up.
Let's hope so. Thanks a lot, Lucas.
Thanks to everyone for coming out. Thank you.
There's a very popular, very proud Australian, of course. You know, he actually shouted a few expats drinks in a local pub in London on Australia Day. And he's got to head off back to the UK tomorrow. He's got a game against Birmingham for West Ham on Saturday. Mark Bresciano, well, his team Palermo play Vince Grella's team Torino this weekend. Let's hear from Bresh. He's speaking now with Mel McLaughlin.
Mark, pretty special to score a goal like that at home.
Yeah, well, it was an important game for us, so I think we're pretty happy with the result. And I think coming home to this crowd like this makes it special for us. It makes it easier to play, so we'd like to thank the crowd as well.
What about your goal and that celebration?
Oh, well, that comes with hard work and support with the players, so hopefully we continue in this track like this.
How important is it to you to come back home for a game like this?
Well, very important, not only for me, but for all the boys, coming back to home soil and playing in front of the crowd, in front of your family and friends, and obviously trying to qualify for the World Cup again.
And you played a great game. How's the body feeling now?
Pretty tired, but I think it's just expected after a long flight and after a short time of recovery.
All right, have a good rest. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, he'll get a big round of applause, of course, being a Melbourne boy. And they've all been heroes tonight for those in green and gold. The first step to South Africa has been taken. Still a long road ahead, but it started Timberbank's reign successfully. They've beaten Qatar by 3-0. Join Andy Harper and the panel in a few minutes for their views on tonight's action.
The man of the moment, the man of the match, Tim Cahill with hand on heart and springs in his boots. It's the second goal for Australia. Through the traffic, he leapt, and he leapt, and he leapt again all night. A constant threat, not only to the corner flag, but to the hopes of the Qatari World Cup bid or campaign, and he got a rousing reception from the fans who gathered en masse to see their national team play, and particularly this man, Tim Cahill, from Liverpool in England to Melbourne in Australia. He's making that return trip from tomorrow, and he's done his country and himself very proud tonight. Well, 3-0 at half-time to Australia, 3-0 at full-time to Australia, and 3 points in the bag. Josh Kennedy, Tim Cahill and Marco Bresciano with the goals. Qatar managed to turn the stats, the possession stat around in the second half. 54% still the majority to Australia, 53% of the time in their opponent's half. They had way more corners than the visitors. Scotty McDonald caught offside a couple of times in that second half. 29 fouls, a fairly tame affair in that sense. Just the 2 yellow cards, one for Craig Moore, of course, in what may be his last international. Well, rejoining me, former internationals Paul Trimboli, Ange Postecoglou and Aurelio Vidmar. Guys, at half-time, we thought Australia did really well. What's the assessment at full-time? Were you surprised they didn't go on with it, Trimmers?
Not really. I think it's always difficult. They've done such a wonderful job in the first half. You go in at half-time, you know the points are in the bag, and it's just natural you're going to ease off a little bit. And, I mean, they still tried to play their football, but the Qataris, you know, picked it up a little bit. But, no, I think the job was done in the first half. Wonderful performance.
Key points to the victory, Ange?
Oh, look, the start. It was all about the start. We all said that the little chink in their armour, which was a big chink, was their lack of confidence and self-belief. And Josh Kennedy getting that goal early on just set them on the back foot. We pressured them really well early on. And then after that really became an easier task. As Trimmer said, dropped off in the second half, which is understandable. But it was the first 15 or 20 minutes that was the key to this game.
Aurelio, we certainly were expecting much more from Qatar in the first half, certainly for the whole match. When you think back to the Asian Cup in 2007, halfway through last year, their first game was against Japan, no less, and they managed to come away from that game with a 1-1 draw. That was our first experience watching them at senior international level. They were really impressive that day in the heat of Hanoi. Were we right to expect more from them tonight?
I think so. I think they put in a decent performance in that second half. They pushed a few players further forward, and Cesar and Ibrahim especially got involved a lot more in the middle of the park. But if they showed that sort of intensity and that sort of passion in the first half, I think it could have been a different game.
Well, how do you come, Paul, to an international match? There are World Cup qualifying points up for grabs. And we talk about being starstruck and in awe of your opponents, but the listlessness of the Qatari team in that first half, really hard to explain.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the intensity. I'm not sure, I haven't seen them training, but then the competition that they're playing in. We're talking about the guys in the Aussie team. They come from a very intense league they play in, a lot of them playing in England, and they just come in and they extend that. All their training sessions, all their games are at full throttle, and I don't think the Qataris tend to play that way, and they're known not to travel very well, and I think they came unstuck, and as Ange said, early was the time to get them, and we put them to the sword.
Well, they may have run out of petrol by the end of the game, according to Lucas Nell, but they started ever so well, the Australians. 3 goals in the early exchanges. That's the lead they took to half-time, the first of which came from the head of Josh Kennedy. Great tonic for him and a real nerve settler for Pim Verbeek, Graham Arnold and the whole cause, Ange.
And exactly why he was selected in the side for tonight's game. Obviously a great aerial strength. The Aussies got into some good positions early on in wide areas and weren't afraid to cross the ball in, and it was Josh Kennedy who was the benefactor for the first goal.
And as we've spoken about Tim Cahill, of course, Aurelio's second goal of the game. He could have had a real hatful tonight, a hat-trick well within reach, but this will have to do him. The celebration we're very familiar with. He was outstanding tonight, Tim Cahill.
He was very good. You know, if he had taken all his chances, which is not always possible, he could have had 4 goals tonight. This is what I really liked about Australia in the first half. Bresciano coming from deep, running into the box. Timmy Cahill does that exceptionally well, and this is a perfect finish for Bresciano. He loves getting into the box, and you know, we knew that they were going to be the ones who were going to score the goals through the midfield. That was going to be Timmy Cahill and Marco Bresciano.
Interestingly, Ange, when Tim Cahill did